adjustments to the agenda?
I have none.
Hearing none, we'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes of January 10th, 2018.
I move that we accept the minutes of the meeting of January 10th, 2018, as written. Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of January 10th, 2018 as printed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's carried. Communications and public comments. Doreen Studi, Greater Falls Chamber of Commerce.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Doreen Stugley. I'm the director of the Great Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce in Bellows Falls. We are a regional chamber. Did everybody get all the information that I sent? I do have some other stuff that I wanted to hand out. But I just wanted to come to basically reintroduce the chamber to you. We do have 8 Vermont towns in our regional area. We also have 3 New Hampshire towns that are in our New Hampshire area. We have members from all towns and beyond. They go as far as Brattleboro, Keene. But I just wanted to reach out to the folks in every town to let them know what we've been doing, and that we are a regional chamber and we're not just a Bellows Falls Rockingham chamber. And so we do promote things that are going on in Westminster as well as we do the other towns. So I'm here basically to let you all know that if you know of any businesses or anybody that wants to bring us information, my office is at the Waypoint, so it gives me a little bit more freedom to put anybody's stuff in there because it is a Waypoint center. So we can go a little bit beyond the member base as well. I have reached out to a few people about different things that have been going on in Westminster to put in our guidebook for yearly events. That's going to be printed. Hopefully, no later than the end of February we'll have it. So, but I don't know if anybody had any questions for me and anything that we do or the events that we have. The events that I put in there are chamber events. So, if there's any questions on those.
How can we be helpful to you?
You can be helpful by referring us. If anybody has any questions that are coming in, you can't answer what's going on in New Hampshire or Bellows Falls or Athens, send them our way. And we will be more than happy to give them information to help them with their trip or relocation or whatever that they happen to be in town for. And there's such a wealth of information in the Waypoint Center for all the towns. It is a Connecticut Byway Waypoint Center, so, and we do, and if there's any events that anybody knows of that's going on, a public event, let me know, and I can get the word out about it that way too.
And how do you get the word out? Is there
We have a website.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page, and our Facebook page is connected to Twitter. So anything that goes on Facebook is automatically on Twitter. So, and then it gets generated out from people reposting and everything. So we have about 130 members, and the list is continually growing. So with everybody, and it's kind of nice because we're not just in one area, so we have members all over, and so it gets generated in a lot of different places.
You do any events in Westminster?
We don't, and this is one of the reasons why I'm here. I would really like to change that.
You still have to join and be a member. That's how you're getting their name and contact. Is there a due every year?
Yes, so our membership dues is based on what kind of organization you are. For financial and town municipalities, it's $600 a year. For some of the industrial, depending how many employees and how large they are, they're like $375 to $200. Professional services, which almost includes just about everybody, is like $200. Lodging is $200. Nonprofits is $140.
So this says your first mixer of the year is hosted by the,
Westminster Fit Body Boot Camp.
yeah.
Yeah.
So is it in Westminster? It's
Yeah,
there?
it's there.
Oh, so there is an event in Westminster. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
but yeah, our mixers we have typically once a month. We may not have one every single month, but pretty much we have one every month. And how we do our mixers is our members host them at their place of business. If they work out of their home or something like that, sometimes they will co-host one with another business. And February is at Westminster Fit Body Boot Camp. And it's going to be an interactive one, so if anybody wants to bring their shoes and sweatpants.
Do you interact with Russ so that you would, for example, put that onto our website, being that it is? You see what I'm saying? We have a Westminster Gazette, or a Westminster website that we invite people to put events like this on it. So my question would be, would you send information to Russ so that he would then put it on our website? So if somebody clicked on, I want to do something in Westminster, they would see that the Greater Falls Chamber is going to have a boot camp event on that day. You see what I'm saying?
What I can
Which
do
would tie
is,
back to your website.
Yeah, what I can do is make sure he's on our email, and he will get our monthly newsletter and any updates that I sent out. Did you get one today? No? Okay, so you're not on it yet. Okay. And I'll make sure I'll add, because I did send actually something out, Matt's email today.
Okay.
So I'll make sure.
The reason
that
why I was thinking that is a lot of people live in Westminster still don't think of Bells Falls.
Well,
But if they go to our website and they will
Right.
see that we're, I don't say sanctioned, but it's basically part of the, something we're offering to do it would help.
and I think a lot of people think that the Great Falls Chamber is a Bellows Falls or Rockingham Chamber.
Yeah.
So
A
that's,
lot of the companies do,
Yeah.
corporations in Westminster.
and we have a few members that are from Westminster, like Westminster Fit Body Boot Camp, and there's a few others. But we're trying to make that a little bit bigger. We would love to see more people from Westminster.
Doreen?
Just in case.
Yeah. I think I have it.
I
right.
think so.
Any other questions?
Thank you for coming.
Thank
for
you.
having me. Oh, and these here, I do wanna, one more thing. We have an annual dinner every year, and it's includes Person of the Year. And we accept nominations. They do not have to be members of the chamber. They just have to be a member of our regional area. And we ask people to make nominations of somebody that they think gives a lot back to their community. And I have,
Have there ever been a Westminster person?
I don't know this. I've been with the chamber for 3 years. I just became the director in May.
Right.
So we can pass those out. And if there is anybody, just hand that in to me with a small paragraph, or it could be 3 pages long. I don't care how long it is. Why you think this person should be recognized as Person of the Year. We gather all this information up until like 2 weeks before the event. The event, it looks like it's going to be April 19th this year, and we have a selection committee that picks out of all of them. We make a unanimous decision. We don't tell anybody except for the people that actually nominated them, because we want them to come to the annual dinner, make the presentation themselves if they feel comfortable enough doing that, and so we really try to keep it quiet so nobody finds out until that night. Last year was Ed Denaney. I don't know if anybody's familiar. I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely get your nominations in. You can either email them or mail them to me, and we'll be happy to add them.
Katie Dearborn is Person of the Year 3 or 4 years ago.
She might have been Person of the Year before I actually started.
I think
the
so.
chamber.
But she's a Westminster resident.
Yes, and she.
Katie Dearborn, yeah.
Yeah.
Where did it- oh, well,
That's all she's up to town meeting.
oh, that's right. Okay, I didn't know. I know what you're talking about now.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much for coming. You can stay if you like. Moving on, any other communications and public communications and public comments at this time?
We have a letter
Yeah,
that I'm going to pass out. It's another communication from Bobby Kilburn. It's an FYI.
When do we make a decision about that? You know, what's the, we're waiting for.
We were waiting for the Gazette,
nominees? Oh, yeah.
putting it in the Gazette to see if there was more
Uh-huh,
interest. And then
okay,
you guys will be given it when we do our nominations right after town meeting.
okay.
okay. We don't need to read that, do we? No, we don't. Come on. Unfinished business, abandoned mobile home, Davison Hill.
In your packet, you have 3 more just pieces of information. The first one is the tax card. It is 1 acre. The lot figures out to be about 80 feet wide and 550 feet deep. So the next map that you have in your hands is highlighted. You can see where it is on Davidson Hill. And the last one is an estimate for demolition of that mobile home.
Is this a non-conforming lot at this point in time within the town?
It would be very, very tough to get a home in that lot.
Don't we have a width and?
We do. And you have to have road frontage, so that means you'd have to give a grant a 50-foot right-of-way parallel to one of your property lines. It's only 80 feet wide, so that's only leaving 30 feet to create a home, plus keeping the setbacks. So it would be very, very tough, very challenging. Plus, it's over a bank. I showed you the pictures from last time. I have them here again if you need to review it, but
Have we heard anything from Mr. Tavera?
we have not. Of course, Mr. Tavero has passed away, so it's his estate, and we're trying to get still
Rusty,
Them
when you
too.
said that, didn't sound good.
passed away,
We still have
and we're waiting for the
Yeah.
estate. Sorry, what did I say?
Well, because he asked, have you heard? And he goes, no, I have not, but he's passed away. And I was like,
Oh. We have not
there's
heard
probably,
from him.
there's a good chance you're not gonna hear from this person.
Move right along here.
You know.
Okay. And you'd like us to do, this is just for our information?
It is. I don't have a recommendation at this point. I have not talked to a couple of the abutters who would be benefit from the piece of land to adjoin it to theirs. And that, I think, is my next step. But I keep giving you guys information just to keep you.
Where are the taxes?
No,
Where are the taxes on this at this point?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. I showed you last time.
Are they up to date or are they behind?
You said you've been.
No, they're up to date.
Right.
I do know that.
So is
No, I just wondered if
somebody
they were, if it was gonna be coming up for tax sale.
claim ownership of this property?
My gut feeling is that the estate will not proceed with this. They will let it go to tax sale and let it go. There's no one that's interested in it. And it doesn't abut to something bigger that they can actually build upon. I don't know how William got it. There was an old camp on it at one time, is what I've been told. and then this trailer was moved into it, the best I can tell, unlawfully. I don't know, there was no permit granted, there's no room for it, and now it's completely destroyed. People have gone in it, they've taken out all the valuable copper and anything that had any value, and now the rest of it's just being thrown over the bank. It is a safety issue, and we now are getting complaints from the neighborhood that something has to be done before somebody gets hurt.
If we demolish it, the money that we spend, are we in line in the estate to get that back? Do we know?
We could put a lien on the property. Before it became official, of course, we'd run it by legal counsel and make an official document out of it, give them one last chance to respond to a letter, I would assume, from legal counsel, and let them decide what to do with it.
But being honest, it isn't worth $6,500, so if we put $6,500 in it, we would never get our money
No,
back.
but we want, what we're getting is we're getting rid of a safety and health
hazard.
issue.
That's
a
correct.
hazard.
But the other hand, before we spent $6,500, I would think we'd want to pursue the neighbors to see if anybody, if somebody even bought it for next to nothing, they can clean it up on their time, probably for less than what we would hire somebody to do.
We have no rights to the land, of course, but we do have the concern of a safety issue. So hence is why I'm slowly but surely getting information for you to make a sound judgment on this. But nothing can be done to it right now, of course. So we have a couple more months to decide what to do with this. And so I'm slowly but surely getting all the ducks in a row so that when it all becomes apparent of what the estate's going to actually do or not do, then we'll be able to proceed with.
Russ, can I ask this, so I understand this map? So if a squiggly line goes across the road, that means it's the people on both sides of the road.
That's correct.
So the people.
They're adjacent properties.
Right, so this blank piece of land that's next to it, there's nothing on it. It really belongs to 114, which is 5.2 acres. And that's 5.2 acres on both sides of the road.
This right here, see that's the property,
correct.
so this, whoever that
This is
is,
Burns'.
but they own
This
this.
is Burns, and this is.
But this is this piece of property is owned by this parcel, which we would,
The Z means it's a contiguous piece.
On both sides, right?
That's correct.
That-
It looks to me like that has history enough where the road cut it right in half, both of those lots.
Yeah.
And they took it with eminent domain type of thing.
And the person on parcel 111, which is 1 acre, you would think that that would be the person that would gain the most.
Except there's a big ravine right there. So his parcel is actually up on a little knob, very nice and clean and neat. And then it drops right down over a bank, and that's where this land is. So the person that would benefit most from it seems to be, to me, is Mr. Burns, because he's on that same flat. It would just be an extension of his property. It would clean up the mess in front of his house.
Tom Burns?
Charlene.
Oh.
There's no Mr. there. No plan.
It's still in Tom Burns, not Tom.
Property is that?
Tom Burns married her, and they
This one.
separated and divorced.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
Charlene.
Burns property anyway. So
And that Burns property is 116? You
There's
keep
no-
saying names, I don't know, there's no name here.
They still live next to each other.
Who owns property 116? Is that the one you're talking about?
116 and 114 are both Mr. Burns.
That's Tom Burns.
Okay. There's no names, I was just trying to
Yeah.
follow where you were going.
Okay. And 114 is Charlene. Okay, moving right along. New door ordinance.
In your packet is the final documents for your viewing pleasure. It got the stamp of approval from Noel Hoffman, and I haven't run it by legal counsel, but I wanted your input first. If you had any suggestions, what I'll do is leave it with you again and table it till next meeting so you can have a chance to really absorb it, and then let me know what you want to do with it.
So I have a couple questions. So the changes from the last one, the major changes, or the current one is that dogs have to be on a leash on any road, right?
That's correct.
And that's not the case at the moment, but under the new,
A dog can't run at large, but it was very, very vague at what that meant. So a dog can't run at large, but yet running at large means the dog is loose. So we have clarified that with that the dog on public lands needs to be on a leash or under control at all times. And the
right?
only way to do that is with a leash.
See, in the current one, there's a dog control area.
That's
so
correct.
Now it's all a dog
Control area.
And we also bumped up the fines.
The fines a little bit.
But I'm still going back to what she's saying. If you read that, that's where I'm getting confused. Does it say restrain, or it doesn't say restrain or on a leash? It says it must be restrained on a leash. That means no matter what, you can't walk a dog without being on a leash, even if you have a dog under control.
If the dog is under control, then there won't be a complaint. But if a dog is running at large, then he has to be at.
I know. I was just reading all town roads in which dogs are being walked must be restrained. It's kind of clear cut that they have to be on a leash.
They'll have to be on a leash if they're going to run at large. If they're not going to be standing right beside you and walking with you, then you're going to have them on a leash. So it's something to think about. This is the changes that were proposed and given to me. The second piece of news that you have is a Dunbar dog bite scale, and it gives you levels of reaction to a dog bite. I'm going to find this very, very helpful. When you look at each and every dog bite incident, it's very, very different. Did the dog strike because it was protecting? Did the dog retreat immediately after the bite? Did the dog, was it provoked? There's so many details that you have to ask. We had one this summer that the dog struck a person that was quote unquote delivering flowers to a house and did not clarify what he was doing. He had a clipboard in his hand. The only one home was a young lady. She opened the sliding door just a smidge and asked, what it is, and he said, I have flowers. So he reached in to give her the clipboard because she had to sign for the flowers before he actually delivered them, and actually stepped in. Their dog noticed her reaction, which was backing up. Dog struck, and it was one of those things that I consider good dog. It was protecting the young lady. He had no right. He could have set those flowers on the deck and said, tell your mom, have a great day, see you later, I'll get the signature later from your parents, whatever. Instead, he aggressively went towards the door, stepped into the room, dog struck him on the hand. Retreated immediately, but the owner took it upon himself to take care of the situation, which was unfair to the dog, I feel. But the owner had to do what he had to do. So anyway, every level of the dog bite has got to be looked at, and this is really just helpful. Putting it into a category of where you feel what your next step should be. Not just your feeling, but having something in writing, it's going to be very helpful. And Noel gave me that. She pulled it from one of her classes that she went to. Very interesting stuff.
Oodles, is that
Okay. Oh, there. Community Crime Watch update.
The date's been set. January 29th is going to be here at the town hall. I'll put up the sandwich boards tomorrow. Hopefully we get quite a bit of response. Both the state troopers are going to send a person, and county sheriff is going to come. If he doesn't come himself, he's going to send a lieutenant. So I got the 3 dates and the 3 places, and I will keep the sandwich boards out with these 3 dates on them until such time as they're over.
Good. So we did finally hear from the state, please. That's a good thing.
We did.
Okay, any other unfinished business at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Approve warning of the article for approve warning for articles for town meeting. How about that one?
In your packet, you have the 8 articles that are that you're responsible for. They should look very obvious, look very familiar. There's nothing different about them. The wording exactly the same as past years.
Are we past the time for them to add it? Or
Yes, that's why you're approving them now. And we have to have them posted by February 4th, something like that. So, yes, and they have to be signed at that point. So. And we have Fletcher here to answer any questions or.
Do you have any questions? I think that would be the better.
This looks like a very placid town meeting, and every time you expect that, something happens. So you never know what's going to happen at town meeting. The one thing I'm sort of anticipating, you got a couple of articles putting money into reserve funds. I sure hope that somebody's going to be able to explain the status of the town reserve funds, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, given the discussion at last year's town meeting, if we go sort of beyond the ones that you've got here. You got equipment and bridge, I guess. What about town hall and, God forbid, rainy day?
No, that's not there anymore.
Never use that phrase again. I'm just anticipating people are going to want to know how much money you're sitting on and where it's parked, because that was a significant discussion last year. You got a couple articles this year. I expect you'll get questions. So I'm hoping you're ready to roll on that by the time of the meeting.
Do you want to meet with us before town meeting?
Yeah, I think that'd be
Specifically.
good. Maybe we could even come up with some graphics, some pie charts on where the money is and how much there is, some stuff like that. Visual aids are always great. The town loves visual aids.
Or a handout, either one.
Yeah, just something that people can get their minds around what's going on, and because your budget isn't going to tell people what's in the reserve funds. It's going to tell you what your cash flow expectation is. So it'd be good to know what other money there is in the system and where it is.
It will be in the town report, though, in some form or another.
Yeah,
And the audit also.
some form or another is always the part that's problematic.
Right, it would be good to have it in a
Yeah.
simple, clean.
My preference would be.
That's exactly what messes up every time, because they're looking in the report a year back.
Yeah.
They really don't know what's in the year we're in, and we're asking for the year down the road. And we sit there every time and they start asking questions about what's really a year is long gone.
Yep.
Where'd you put the money? And you're thinking, well, I couldn't put it in this year, so it's got to go into the next one. Yeah, that's where the confusing part. So you're right. If you had a handout that shows where we are today.
Yeah, and then, you've got these proposals, you're putting more money in, and, what's that going to bring your totals up to, and why do you need to have that much money in reserve? Right. They're all sensible questions, but we tend to get balled up in them at the meeting.
That's the moderator causes it every time.
I'll try to find a way out of the woods any way I can, but you gotta give me a flashlight.
All right, we'll meet with you before town meeting anyway, specifically for what we're going to be doing, so that you're on the same page as we are, and we might be on the same page as.
Yeah, seriously, if I know where you're headed, I can try to help you get there, but if it comes out of the blue, I'm just like anybody else in the audience, I don't know where we're going. So
Right, that's what we're planning
What we're gonna do is we're gonna go up and introduce the gravel pit, and that will just throw everybody so far off.
I
They
think
won't
that,
ask us
you know,
any questions about the reserve funds.
We could talk about moving the Barrett House to the gravel pit.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good one.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
You want this signed, Russell?
We do.
Do you want us to vote on it, or do we just
Yes.
need to sign it?
I move that we accept warnings as printed for the warnings of the annual meeting for March 3rd, 2018 for the town of Westminster.
I'll second.
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept the articles as printed for March 3rd, 2018 for the warning, for the town warning. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
When do we actually see the town reports?
They're gonna go to print. We sent the first draft to him today. We don't have all the information until, help me out, Patty, the 29th.
After 5 o'clock, Monday.
So after the 29th, we'll have all of the people that are running for positions, and that will be the last page to send to him. Right now, he's formatting for us, and it's going to look like this.
Yeah,
That's the first
Right.
rough draft of it, so.
be nice to see exactly what we're gonna have to explain.
Well, what you see is what you've been getting right along. There's nothing different in that.
Yeah.
The audit is a different animal, and so when people start getting those, then the clarifications need to ring.
Okay, so, certificate of highway mileage. In practice, you have a certificate of highway mileage.
This is the exact same mileage as we've had for the last 2 years. We changed it when I first got here. We added more legal trails and the ancient roads, made a couple of adjustments, but this is what's been our totals for a couple of years now. So nothing has changed. So your signature's got to be squeezed into that bottom line.
You need us to vote on this too, or no?
I do. I need a motion and.
I'll make a motion that we, how do you want to say, that we agree, not agree with, how would you want to determine?
That we agree with the certificate of highway
That
mileage.
we as select board agree with the certificate of highway mileage for the town of Westminster for the year ended in February 10th, 2018.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion's been moved and seconded to accept the document for highway mileage for 2018.
Yeah, 20.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Quite small. Item C, insurance claim.
Our snowplow, and it was actually a sand truck at that point, inadvertently bumped a parked car in a driveway that is at an end of our dead end road. The family was having a bigger gathering around Christmas time. The photo you have in color shows that it's pretty obvious that it's an orange plow. Neither driver that plows and sands that area knew that they had hit it. But if anybody knows about plows, they sway, and if you're backing around looking where you're backing and not where your plow is swinging, that little bump could have definitely been us. It's orange. It's really hard to say that it wasn't us. So in talking with 2 or 3 of you, I did call the LCT and they jumped on it, and it's being taken care of as we speak. Again, I showed them the pictures and they definitely agreed that we're the only ones with orange plows, municipalities. So
Could have been a state of Vermont.
not up there.
I had a orange truck.
So anyway, it's gone to the insurance company.
Good. Signing of road posting, mud season.
Last year we didn't do this, and we probably should have. To have backing from the state of Vermont when you post your roads, if something did happen, someone did do damage to our town road in the mud season, and we didn't sign this, then it would be hard pressed to make them fix it. So most contractors in our area are very, very good about calling and asking permission. We know that fuel trucks and milk trucks do not need permission. They can go where they...
School buses are exempt too, right?
And school buses, yes. But even the milk and the fuel trucks call occasionally and say, do you have any really bad spots? And we'll let them know that please stay off of this road for now. We'll let you know as soon as it clears up. But anyway.
The worst part about it, it's not realistic, because there is none of these trucks empty that weigh that little.
That's correct. That's why
So it's almost like saying you can't have a truck on the road.
until you call us.
Right, yeah.
That's correct. And that's how you do it, is you set the notice, and then the people call, and Mark, we haven't had Ron in charge yet for a mud season, but Mark was very good about contractors calling and him taking a ride to see if the road was hard, even in the morning for a couple hours, and then in the afternoon he'll tell them, nope, you can't do it now. So again, it's been working very, very well, and this is just one of those items that, again, I didn't do last year, but I should have. So
Is
it's in front of you today.
there a misspelling on this word? Is that the way it's supposed to be done? It's got
Town IDGHWA.
what does it mean? You got state highways, then you got town, what is that?
Sorry. Yep, that's a typo.
Okay,
I just copied it off of there.
Let me tell you, I bet a
their
half an
notice.
hour trying to figure out what those letters stood for, and I
Yep.
couldn't find out what it meant.
No, I'll fix that.
Right. I'll move that we accept the notice to be posted from, on the weight limits for this town of Westminster as perceived by the state of Vermont.
Second.
If you could still sign it, what I'll do is I'll correct it and post it over the top of it.
Motion's been moved and seconded to accept the road posting notice for trucks as of January 24th, 2018. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
I saw it earlier and I've been trying to figure out what those letters stood for. And
Sorry,
I
yeah.
Very good of you, Mr. Allen.
I knew I was going to ask the question. I'm going to be embarrassed with it. What's wrong with you? Don't you know what that stands for? So I didn't want to ask the dumb question.
No, that's. I don't know what happened. I took it off a template.
I said Russ wouldn't miss something in big bold letters that bad.
I took it off
How
a
do you
template.
even
Never
read
read
it? You
it.
couldn't even read it.
Thank you.
Town meeting discussion, oh, wait a minute, you get that signed yet?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, town meeting discussion. Anything anybody wants to talk about?
I know next meeting I'll have I'll need who's going to do what article, who's going to read it, and I'll make you little flashcards for you. And
Well, I think the discussion about the financial part, bears I think a suggestion, I mean, I was just thinking about what would it involve. You have an amount of money that you budgeted last year. Because I had been reading some of this stuff from Cynthia too. You have the amount of money you budgeted. You have the amount of money you spent. You could have what we've had is unexpected income, and that would have to be shown as well. For example, this year it's going to be the town forest.
Yeah.
And then, where you're over, under, and the question that she asks, why did we spend a certain amount of money that we hadn't budgeted? Why hadn't we budgeted that money?
Well, more than half of that money, she was incorrect. The town voted on that 191. They voted on the 100.
I'm talking about the
Town
repair
hall.
to the buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, things like that. Mm-hmm. She points those out, and I think that it can't be each of us just getting a little card, because my card was totally off the record. It was, I couldn't explain it. It had no way of showing where it was or where it came from. I don't want to see that happen either. And I think if we do, whatever it is, some visual, and just be, forthcoming with where these, she's pointing out things that other people will ask too. And it's a good question. So I don't want to just receive a card that I'm going to speak to. I think this requires a really serious, way of presenting it.
I still think we should be prepared ahead of time, and we have a handout, one sheet, breaking everything down, all the budgets and everything, so that people can sit there and read it. Because sometimes when you're trying to control the crowd by looking at a screen, they don't have time to digest it. But if everybody's got the paper and they're reading it, looking at it, then they can ask questions about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one of the problems is that for the past few years, we've had a little bit of not a a straightforward,
The unexpected revenue has been coming in.
yeah, and
Right,
that has
you're
been,
right.
and we can't decide that, we've got the money, so let's just spend it. That, it's not we don't just do that. Anyway, I do agree with Fletcher that we should have this down so well that there will be an answer for that question, and any one of us could answer it. So I think the meetings that we have between now and town meeting should be used to do that.
Hopefully it'll be a little easier, because we did get, last time when we got that money back from the state after, 7 years, all of a sudden we get the money for the bridge and we end up getting that money back. We don't have any of that this year, but we need to explain to the voters what we did do with it, because when everybody left that meeting last time, I think they were still confused where we put the money. So I think we need to come back this year with saying, this is what we did, this is what happened last year, was all confusing, but we end up putting this amount of money here, we end up lowering the taxes by this much by using that, so we can explain it. Even though we don't have anything that's like that coming in this year.
There's a few key pages in the audit that answer all of what you've just said very clearly. It's when they start combining years
Right.
that the problems exist. You said it right the first time, is when they start looking at what we're budgeting, what the present year is bringing, and what the past year they're reading in the audit. They start combining those numbers. There's no answers for those.
There has to be answers for
There
that.
can't be, because they're different years, and that's the answer. But they don't take that as the answer.
No, I think that the school, the fire department, they managed to be able to describe their expenditures. And they also have the different years to deal with. So it's not just us. But it's just us that has done it badly.
Yeah. But, well, let's go back. We did not have a problem with anything to do with expenditure. It was all revenue. We have a hard time with revenue, and that's what we had. We kept going, okay, we got this money coming in, this money coming up. It was never, we never played with, we could explain everything that we were asking for the money, for the expenditure. It was the revenue coming in that we couldn't even figure out where the money was coming in and where it got moved to.
Yeah, but it's, we should be able to do
Oh, I'm
that.
not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just saying, that's where we gotta concentrate on is the revenue part. 'Cause every time I have a hard time understanding, because what we go back after is taxation. Okay, and that's one line you're going after for the taxation. Another one is the other income coming in is a different whole group, and we get the two confused.
Well, we can get it confused.
So,
Okay. Personnel matter, executive session.
That's me,
uh,
select board and town clerk, please.
move that we have an executive session where we discuss personnel matter. We invite the town clerk and the town clerk administrative assistant. Is that the right title?
Nope,
Right.
assistant town clerk, yeah.
Assistant town clerk, okay. Into the executive session along with the select board.
Second?
Motion's been moved and seconded to go into executive session on a personnel matter, or a personnel matter. Personal matter, no, sorry.
Personnel. Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We'll do that after other business. Any other new business at this time? Managers report.
Just quickly, some reminders, Westminster meets, the public sale is March 8th, 2018, 11 o'clock. I will plan on being there to represent the town with our interests in that property. Wyndham County Sheriff Josh is going into a 4-month training, and our new officer that will be replacing him for that 4 months is Paul Cimitero. I've met him. He's a retired New York police officer. He's got a lot of experience. Seems to be a very, very nice person, so it should be a very good transition. We just met with Wyndham Regional, and our energy plan is finally ready to go in front of the Public Service Board. We've been waiting for the Wyndham Regional's energy plan to be finally adopted, and it is. So now we can move forward with ours. So the document that you had 6 or 7 months ago will finally start to move forward again and for the adoption into our town plan. Just wanted to mention that we, with Kelly's expertise in going through the town report, we were able to put together the town report in a lot better fashion than we thought. We were going to outsource most of it. She has got it all together, and as we talked before, the first draft has gone to the printer, and all we have is that one page left to clean up and put the right names into, and it will be done. So we're in good shape. We have to have them in hand. I want to say it's the 23rd, somewhere in that range, February 23rd, so that people have them in plenty of time for a town meeting. They have to have them 10 or so days, 10 days before town meeting. So they need 2 weeks. We needed a week and a half. So it's coming together. It has to happen quick now, but we're in good shape. And the last one is we are losing our present assessor, Al Kudent. He is moving on, and so Ernie and Chris from Nimerick are interviewing for another assessor to come here. So just an FYI.
When's he taking it? When are we losing? the resident
We aren't sure.
He hasn't given a date
He
yet.
thought he was done and there was no replacement, so he's back.
Okay.
for at least another couple weeks.
How are our listers doing?
Well, not perfect, but well. They're meeting the public and doing a pretty good job with it. They have some glitches that we're still working with. One is the solar arrays. We just got a glitch today from NextSun of how that taxation it has to work. They thought they were exempt from being the owners of the land from the education tax, and that's not correct. So we're working with a party of 4 to get that resolved. But it's working. It's a work in progress, and they're doing very well for being new. Moving in the right direction anyway.
Good. Okay, manager, boards and commissions.
I have nothing at this time.
Any other business to be brought before the board at this time?
In your packet, you have Cynthia's questions, Cynthia Stoddard's questions. I will bring it back up next meeting with the first versions of what you want to see for clarification of our financials. Most of the questions were pretty self-explanatory and easy to answer. But we've got one answer coming from our auditor, Chad Hewitt, and he won't have that answer until Monday because his predecessor or his
Jordan's on vacation.
is on vacation. So he has,
Which relates to which item?
number 4.
Yeah.
So we'll have that answer for next meeting.
Okay. Anybody got anything else? If not, we'll go into executive session.